So, we just discussed Lisa's situation and how an extension can be a lifesaver when you need more time to file. But what if you're not just facing a temporary time crunch, but a whole different set of circumstances, like living and working overseas? That brings us to our next scenario featuring Alex, a US citizen who's currently living and working in Japan. He's understandably a bit unsure about how his location impacts his tax obligations and deadlines.
This reminds me of a friend who moved to Europe last year and was completely lost about taxes. She wasn't even sure if she still had to file. It definitely sounds like a tricky situation.
It can be, and that's why we're here to break it down. Sam, let's start with the basics. What are the specific filing rules and deadlines for US citizens living abroad?
While living abroad might change your life, it doesn't necessarily change your U.S. tax life. U.S. citizens and resident aliens generally have to file U.S. taxes on their worldwide income, regardless of where they live. The standard April 15th deadline still generally applies. However, there's an automatic 2-month extension for those living outside the U.S. and Puerto Rico, pushing the deadline to June 16th. This applies if your main place of business or post of duty is also outside the U.S. and Puerto Rico.
So, if I understand you correctly, even though our hypothetical Alex lives and works in Japan, he still needs to file with the IRS, but he gets a little extra time?
Precisely. This 2-month extension gives expats like Alex some breathing room, especially given the complexities of gathering tax information from overseas. But it's crucial to remember, this is an extension to file, not an extension to pay.
That's a key distinction, Sam. So even though Alex gets more time to organize his documents and file the paperwork, he still needs to estimate his tax liability and pay any amount owed by the original April 15th deadline to avoid penalties and interest.
This sounds similar to Lisa's situation with needing an extension. The extra time is only for filing, not for paying. That's really important to remember.
Exactly. It's a common misconception. Now, Taylor, our second question was about resources for expats. Where can Alex find support specifically for filing as someone living abroad?
Well, the IRS website would be my first stop. They usually have dedicated sections for specific situations like this one.
You're on the right track, Taylor. Publication 17, Your Federal Income Tax, is a comprehensive guide, and there's a section specifically addressing taxpayers living abroad. Also, the IRS has international tax assistance centers that can offer personalized support. Beyond the IRS, Alex could consider consulting with a tax advisor specializing in expat taxes. They can help navigate the complexities of foreign income exclusions, tax treaties, and other nuances.
So let's recap. Even if you're a US citizen living and working abroad, you generally still need to file a US tax return. You get an automatic 2-month extension, giving you until June 16th. But remember, this extra time is for filing only, not for paying. Be sure to estimate your tax liability and pay by the original April 15th deadline. For resources and support, check out IRS Publication 17, the IRS website, international tax assistance centers, or consult with a tax advisor specializing in expat taxes.